So let's go ahead and walk through this solution. Create a route to the widgets feature. Let's do that. Let's go over to our app folder here. I'm not sure if I like this syntax better. I might just go back to TypeScript here. There we go. This isn't that good either. I don't know. Sublime can do it. Adam needs to figure it out. So we'll just say widget, a name, widget seems appropriate, and a component, the widget component.
It's currently named widgets, I believe.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, that's what it shall be. Widgets. From widgets. All right, so we made a route. And just by doing that, we should be able to navigate to it manually, right? So if we come in here, we should be able to come in here and say widgets, and we get that. All right, so just by setting up that configuration, we can manually navigate to it. We haven't set up any configuration in the app yet, so let's do that. So the next thing is use the route link to navigate to the widgets feature. Okay, let's do that. So if we go into our app.html, we can set up another router link here. That will go to links.widgets. Widgets. And then down in app.typescript, we'll just make another entry here into our links. Widgets. Oh, that's gonna break. There we go. So now we have a widgets link up here in the nav bar that we can navigate to. Any questions on this so far? Anybody get stuck on one of these parts? A little confusion? No? Okay. The next thing we want to do is create a method in the items component that imperatively navigates to that route. So let's go over to items. We'll go to the items component here. And we know we're going to use the router, so we might as well just import that now. So let's go do that. So we get the router service. Go over to the constructor here. Inject it into the constructor. And then now we just need to create some functionality. So we'll just say go to widgets. This dot router dot navigate to widgets. So now we just need to wire this up to something inside of here. Let's just get rid of the widgets component that's at the top. And we'll just add a button that has a click that says go to widgets.
It's spelled differently down below.
Okay, thank you.
You know what that was? Teamwork.
Yes, it was. There we go.
No, it's still spelled differently.
Still spelled different. Let's do this.
It's got two widgets down below.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. There we go. Go to widgets. All right, so now, if we go to items and we click on this ugly button, it'll go to the widgets. All right, so now we got that set up. Any questions on that part? All right, everybody understand that we need to make sure we inject this service in order to call the navigate method. That's where it comes from. And we pass it into the constructor of the component. And because I initialized this service as private, it's already, this really just makes it just by doing that, it's just saying this dot router equals router. That's what it's doing. So I didn't have to set that up. And if you want to check that out, where's the build? It's this thing. I was thinking random memory. Never mind. So we can look at the build, but that's really all it's doing. So the next thing we need to do is add both route parameters and query parameters, which are pretty much the same thing, to the widget's route. Okay, let's do that. So let's say widgets, and then ID. Let's look at the widget service here. Widget name. Let's give these widgets IDs. Let's do that. Let's do that. What was right here? Name, description. So I'm just building this up so we can use this. Cool. Oh, so this is just shorthand syntax, and I'm just, because it's only one parameter, I can skip the return keyword. It's implicitly going to return. But because it's multi-line, I have to wrap it in parentheses right here. So if that's kind of confusing, let me do this. It's just doing this.
What's the error that it complains about?
It's complaining about that. No, it's not. What is it complaining about? Oh, well now, this isn't an object. Now I have to wrap this. So yeah, I need to wrap that in parentheses. So that's going to stay like that. There we go. It was complaining because it didn't know if this was an object literal or a function body bracket. That's why it was complaining. Yeah. So I wrap the parentheses around it, and I don't have to put the return keyword because it's implicit, it's implied. So yeah, we're just going to return this for the widgets here. We added the IDs there. I'm going to go ahead and make a function inside of items right here. Let's expand the go-to widgets to take a widget number. Right? So we'll say, or ID, which is a string. And we'll say ID is ID. So we can use the object shorthand method and just put ID there. That'll work. So in ES6, if the property name matches a local variable that you're going to assign to the property name, you can just write the name once and it'll assign it. So it's equivalent of doing this. ID. I can just say ID. So we'll do that. And then inside the widgets component, we need to, anybody remember the thing the service I need to inject in here to get access to the parameters?
Route parameters.
Yeah, exactly. So we got route params in here. We just need to place it in here. Private. Yeah. Cool, so now we got that. And then now what we can do is we can just grab the active widget, which would be this dot widgets dot find with the widget whose widgets dot ID triple equals params dot ID or dot get ID.
Is that going to convert the ID to an integer for you?
Yeah, it probably will. I might have to use parseInt there. Triple equals will fail on the lookups. Good catch. Active widget equals a string or an object. Or, yeah. Ooh, that's a lot. Let's break that off the next line. There we go. So then we'll get the active widget, and then what we can do is we can just put the active widget here. And we'll say active widget dot name description. So let's check that out. So if all works, we should have the active widget here. So let's check it out. Something broke. ID was not included in the parameters passed in. So wherever I'm, oh, I think I know where. It's that button that I left somewhere. This thing, or.
Yeah, you're not passing in an ID.
Yeah, I'm not passing an ID. We'll just default to something right quick. Let's default to 1 for now. Okay. Really?
Is that because you're already on that page? You changed the URL in your browser to relevant?
Oh yeah, that's true. We're already on this page. Let's say 2. Let's refresh right quick. Okay. So now we get ID was not included.
Is it the link up the very top next to the demo button?
Yeah, I think that's it. Linked up, which, yeah, it's this right here. Type number is not assignable to type string. Really?
Yeah, anything in your default assignment
Right here?
string that you're passing in.
Yeah. Good old TypeScript. That's why we use it. And refresh. And you don't want to refresh. Now you refresh. Okay, I'll refresh you. There we go. Okay. So now click on widgets. There it is. Widget 1, I am active widget 1. If we change this to 2, widget 2, 3, widget 3, so forth, so forth. Any questions on that, on the parameters, accessing those and adding dynamic things to the page? Everybody got that? Okay. So now, the child stuff. Let's just do that. Let's just get it out the way. I know there's questions. I know there's questions. I mean, we already have the demo one set up. So, I mean, I could do it again. But is there any questions on the child stuff? Did everybody go through an example of getting the child thing set up? No? Was
I'm
it
getting
because
an
it was-
exception. Primary outlet is already registered. Is that a common?
That's because
Exception?
you probably have used default twice on the same component, routing config. You can only use default for one route per routing config. And that's where that error comes from. So if you have that, you probably ran into the same thing that I had, where I was trying to set up like a grandchild as a default, put use default on that child's router config and not the top level config. So on the nested router config, put use default on that path.
Does that mean that if you define route configs in multiple places, you only get one use default across the union of all of those?
You get one use default,
Or is it just within that?
per router
annotation?
config. Yeah, just per router config.